You're listening to a podcast by the Perennial Leader Project. When you look up the word happiness, it's usually defined as the state of being happy, or a state of well-being and contentment. But what does it actually mean to, quote, be happy? Strangely, it's a more challenging question than one might think. In No Mud, No Lotus, a book we read for reading in the good life, the late Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh explained, "We all want to be happy, and many books and teachers in the world try to help people be happier. Yet we all continue to suffer. Therefore, we may think that we're, quote, doing it wrong. Somehow we are, quote, failing at happiness. That isn't true. Being able to enjoy happiness doesn't require that we have zero suffering. In fact, the art of happiness is also the art of suffering well. When we learn to acknowledge, embrace, and understand our suffering, we suffer much less. Not only that, but we're also able to go further and transform our suffering into understanding, compassion, and joy for ourselves and for others." For today's episode, I thought I'd share a meditation from our upcoming course, Happiness and the Meaning of Life, which is a 10-week philosophical study exploring happiness and the art of living a meaningful life. Some of the lessons we'll cover in the course are the science of well-being, a Buddhist guide to happiness, saying yes to life, and many other topics. The meditation or portion of that I'm sharing today is titled Being and Becoming. Some of you that are longtime subscribers to Perennial Meditations, our newsletter, might remember a meditation titled The Art of Being Where You Are. I think it's one of the most popular. But what if, quote, being is only one side of the equation? Several wisdom traditions also stress the idea of, quote, becoming who we are. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus asked his students, how long are you going to wait before you start demanding the best for yourself? Now, granted, demanding the best for ourselves likely involves learning to be where we are. But the good life is also an ethical life. Philosophical and spiritual traditions universally urge us to think about virtue as action. So one might ask, what's more important, being or becoming? A critical idea that runs through the course is both and thinking, or you could say the way of paradox. In a recent conversation with Mark Matusik, the author of Lessons from an American Stoic, we discussed an exercise called Making Space for Paradox. Matusik writes, reflect on the doubleness of experience and how apparent opposites can be equally true at the same time. Remember that there are two sides to what happens, at least, and that wisdom results in the ability to hold opposing truths in your mind at the same time without either canceling the other out. Therefore, it's essential that we recognize the most important word in being and becoming as the quote, and. To effectively navigate life requires us to embark on what, in Buddhist teachings, they call the middle way. This is what our opening passage from Thich Nhat Hanh was pointing to regarding happiness and suffering. Hanh says one of the most difficult things for us to accept is that there is no realm where there's only happiness and no suffering. By learning to see and skillfully engage with both the presence of happening and suffering, we begin to learn how to live a meaningful life. There is no happiness without suffering. Likewise, there is no meaning without struggle or engagement with the world. One of my favorite passages from the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius' Meditations observes, "The fruit of this life is a good character and acts for the common good." This is another example of the wisdom of "and." Marcus concludes that life is not only about cultivating a good character. The good life also includes acts for the common good. Like happiness and meaning, the art of being and becoming is learning to embody both. Eric Langshire and Nate Clem suggest in their phenomenal book Start Here that most self-development books tend to focus on either being or becoming. Books about being speak of the benefits of slowing down and feeling the incredible joy of aliveness. On the other hand, books about doing stress the importance of maximizing productivity and finding a sense of purpose. However, if you go too deeply into being, your life becomes all about your practice and your experience of the present moment. You can miss the immense opportunity for happiness by contributing to the lives of others. Thank you for listening to another episode of the In Search of Wisdom podcast. I hope you found something useful for daily life. If so, I encourage you to put what you heard into practice. If you're interested in more tools for the art of living, consider subscribing to Perennial Meditations on Substack. By becoming a member, you'll help support the project and gain access to our podcasts, meditations, and courses. Until next time, be wise and be well.